For years, I had the honor of serving on an artistic committee for a theater production company, and they produced all their plays in the round. And they recently, in the last 6 years, expanded to one of the most prestigious state of the art round theaters with rotating floors and acrobatic ceiling treatments. Sometimes the stage was in constant motion, and other times it was flooded with water deep enough to dive into. There is nothing I would rather do than watch great live theater. For those several hours that you're there, you enter a new world, a new space, and you get to step into the life of the characters, their dilemmas and their solutions, and add in some exciting choreography and those amazing costumes and those singing voices. You actually feel the vibrato in your chest. And I tell you, that is the space that I love. Now, appreciating the art of the writers, the directors, the producers, the scenery, the lighting, the sound, and the inspiring acting, I know that I have stepped into a masterpiece of a team of creatives. Oh, creativity, I tell you, to bring to life the imaginings of the heart and the soul. What would that be like to see your play, your script, your storyline being played out in 3D in living color? So have you considered writing your personal screenplay? Now, it only has to be 5 minutes long, not an hour and a half or 2 hours long, but it could be the grappling hook that you toss into the future and you pull it snug to use it as a lifeline to positive movement and change. Curious how to make this happen? We are stepping you into writing your own personal screenplay, and the outline can be done all within 30 minutes. A good theater production has a script, and while we can just let life happen to us, we can actually steer the plot in some pretty powerful directions. So get out your pen and paper, and let's become the writer of a screenplay worthy of your time. Well, hello. You are listening to the No Brainers Empowering Possibilities show. These are invitations to ahas, a little bit of science, some fresh perspectives, a dash of behavioral psychology, some easy skills that you can try now, even today, and a whole lot of creative fun. So if leveling up is on your radar, my friend, you are at the right show. I'm your host, Roseanne Marsh. I am the author of the teen and the parent empowerment curriculum called Level Up. And you are listening to episode number 57, Grappling Hook Your Future with Your Personal Screenplay. During the years that I served on the artistic committee, I had the privilege of reading many of the scripts to see if the languaging was family friendly, if the characters were compelling, and if the story had a moral that was unforgettable. Reading the actors' lines and the scene descriptions, you know what? It was really easy to create in my mind what that scene play looked like, what those words and action would be. And as the story would unfold, it was as if I was running a mind movie inside of my head. I was constructing that environment, the stage, the lights, where those actors would be. And just like reading a book, descriptive words can light up the imagination to create a stage production in your head. So years ago, I was introduced to writing your sacred story, a personal script. Now, this is a practice of essentially writing what the future you will look like. So if I were to ask you 5 or more years from now, what will your life be like? What would you come up with? If you could take a time machine into the future and see how you are living, what are the things that you would observe about where you are, what you're doing, what's occupying your time, and who are those significant relationships, and what is there about your life that is literally lighting you up? So when I heard the idea of writing my story, I jumped at the chance to start writing the script of my future self, written as if I were already living it today in the present. But it was a little daunting at first. I was like, oh my gosh, where do I even start? Until a friend suggested just take a snapshot of one day in that life and just describe that. Dreams and goals and ambitions and desires, they need a map. They need a target. And when we can be detailed in our description of what our life is like and what we are feeling in our future skin, it's as if we're throwing a grappling hook into our future to give us that guideline towards our desired outcome. Now, we're going to talk about the science in just a minute and why it works. But what does the screenplay even look like? Well, this could be a short 1 or 2 written pages when complete, or it could be as long as detailed as you want. There are some categories you might want to cover, but this is your script. This is your life. And whatever those important focuses are and who and what is in it is really up to you, right? We'll start with bullet notes, and then we'll fill in with more detail so that's fairly easy to construct. And then once your script is written, you'll read it through a couple times. Now, the reason for that is so you can start feeling what's in your heart and your head. And then you're going to record it with stirring music. I mean, music that you love. And it can be any genre, but it has to be something that relates to you, right? This will now become something you listen to at least 1 or 2 times a day. And in your mind, do like I did when I was reading scripts for the theater. You're going to bring to life what you have written in Technicolor in your mind. So I loved closing my eyes and listening to it, but I also would take my dogs for a walk and listen to it. But I had it memorized and I would say a lot of the lines along with it. Now, by the way, when you conjure things up in your mind, maybe sometimes it's going to be in black and white, and sometimes it'll be in color. It's okay. Either way is fine. But I said that the outline could be achieved in 30 minutes, and that's true. I also know the value of preparing our minds to be open and in a creative state. So set aside some what I call creative priming time before you take that pen to the paper and start to sculpt your script. When you create it, get in a good state. Now, this creative priming time is important because when you go to create something, you want to be in a good state. It's hard to make the flow happen when you're feeling lousy. So the future you has developed beyond where you are right now. So if you take some priming time and think about, okay, if I'm evolving, if I have learned life's lessons, if I've evolved in ways that I can only dream about, what are some questions I should ask myself? And just some priming questions would be, and we'll get to some categories in a minute. Some priming questions would be, why do you want to change? And what do you want to change? And why do you want to evolve? What's the purpose? What's the why behind that? What's the compelling why? What's that compelling reason for improvement? Is it because you want more financial gain? Do you desire better health? Is it more security with your relationships? What are those goals and those dreams that right now the present you is thinking, oh man, my dream life would look like this? Think about those in history or present day examples of people who espouse the values, the ethics, the accomplishments, the notoriety and the success, the balance, the harmony, or literally whatever it is that you want to emulate. Success is one of those words that truly could be interpreted in so many different ways. What is success to one is very different to what is success to another person. To one person, it might be a lifestyle of simplicity, kind of tucked away in a little place in the country with simple things of life, but yet sustainable. And success to another might be becoming an influencer of something they've created, and they want to share it with the world. So what's your passion? So be thinking about why you want to evolve, why you want to change, and what your passions are. And during that priming time, just let your mind flow. So what are some things you can do for a priming time? Well, to get in a creative state, you can even do something as simple as grabbing a piece of clay and putting on some beautiful music and letting your hands make shapes while you bring peace and clarity to your mind. Or you could doodle to music and let the inspiration flow. Doodling is a really powerful thing. And there is no right or wrong to doodling, right? Whatever comes to you. If you're a runner, you may get inspiration when you're running. And at the very least, you'll activate those feel-good endorphins in your body that awaken the mental faculties and step us closer into that creative mindset. Not a runner? Well, go for a long walk. Let nature catch your gaze, or allow the rhythm of you walking down the sidewalk to create a rhythm of imagining. We can also alter our state by laying down and listening to music, putting on inspiring music, whatever that sounds like to you. Is it a symphony with an interlude of different emotional stories? Is it an epic film score that leaves you feeling invincible? Da-da-da-da. Is it a soft, feel-good lyrics of nostalgia that kind of put you back to a time when life felt easier? Let music be that jump start to that creation pad for the movie of your mind, that script of your destiny. Now, we can also alter our state by using breath work. Getting into a place of stillness and even meditation allows our mind to be sheltered away from the distractions and that really the cacophony of life, and give it a respite to be able to be still and listen. Thoughts are going to come and go, and we can be curious about the thoughts, but then we can allow them to pass through, or we can even envision a door that you gently open up and invite it out. Yeah, have you ever invited out your thoughts? Focusing on your breath can help calm the mind and allows ideas to flow in. Another priming idea, you can even do some planning, envisioning with the hero or heroine of your dreams. They may not live next door to you. So go into that meditative state. And then when your mind is quiet, invite that person in to have an interview or a casual conversation and ask for help. Hey, our imaginings are powerful. Why would we not use the skills and talents that we have to converse or learn from others metaphysically? Now, what this does from a science perspective is it accesses your subconscious, the things that you know about that person that you admire. And if you've studied their life, their values, their practices, their patterns, those are known by your subconscious. So this isn't woo-woo stuff I'm talking about. Then when you, in a metaphysical way, sit down with that mentor or person you would love to follow, your mind can piece their life with pieces of your life. Does that make sense? It's very cool because you're accessing information that you know about someone else, and by bringing them in your mind and having this pretend conversation, you're actually being able to knit their life values with possibilities with yours. This is really powerful. So ask questions, and don't be surprised if you don't get some gems or some tips that can help you as you construct that script of your own mind movie. So, okay, now that you've primed, so that was some ideas on just really getting ready to now sit down with your pen and paper. As you construct what you're going to be like in the future, you will describe it as if it has already happened. And as you close your eyes and listen to the script that you've written, directed, produced, your mind is going to fill in with the visuals that coincide with those goals and those dreams and those desires that you're living in the future, but talking about as if they happened already. A future you script is always written in the present tense. There's never one day I will, or I'm looking forward to, when this happens, I will. No. That's projecting what will happen to even a further distant date. So the script you're writing will always be years down the road if you do that. And it's going to be a moving target instead of if it's written in the present tense, first person, description of you living it, having already achieved it, already enjoying it, a description of success and contentment, excitement, and appreciation. Now, one other important piece. Adding descriptors that involve what you are seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and feeling. So when you put the senses into something, the mind absorbs it and records it in lots of different ways. So what to write about? I have 5 areas that I'm going to give you. And of course, there may be others that you want, but I'm going to give you the category and this kind of some thought questions about it. And then you can decide what you're going to write. The first one is your heart, mind, body, and spirit, writing about that. So what do you like? What intellectual values do you appreciate about yourself? What have you learned or are learning? How is your physical self? What is your state of wellness and fitness? How do you feel every day? How strong are you? What is your mental wellness like? What are your emotions like? What spiritual practices do you maintain? And is there a connection with the source higher than yourself? And what does that relationship look like? So that is just a few questions around heart, mind, body, and spirit. The second is, what is your passion and your career, your mission? So what do you want to spend your days doing on a daily basis? What skills do you want to master? How do you want to show up? We all have some source of genius. How can you explode that genius, and how is that shared with your circle of influence? What is that zest of life? What is that thing that lights you up, that gives you butterflies in your stomach? You can't stand it. You have to get out of bed because you're so ready to achieve this. So that was the second category. That was the passion, career, and mission. The third one is, what role does money play in your life? Or in other words, finances. Do you want to be debt-free? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you give or support to charities? Do you want to master money and have skills like those that are successful in their experience with money? What is your relationship with money? So that's the third one, money. The fourth one is relationships. Who are the people you want in your life? And what are your relationships like? What kind of a parent or a son or a daughter or a spouse or a friend do you want to be? How do you want to treat and make other people around you feel? Do you want lots of people around you, or do you want smaller, intimate groups? And what is your relationship with yourself? How do you feel about yourself? What could be your contribution to your close inner circle or to your community or to the world? Is there an impact that you want to have? And one day when you're laid to rest, what are those things that you want to be known for? So that was the fourth area, relationships. And the fifth one, what are those fun and passionate things you want to be involved with that really you haven't done in a little while? What things make your heart sing? Do you have a bucket list? Have you made one? Have you done one? Have you already crossed off a bunch of them? The future you has probably already done some of those amazing things. So mention that. The point is to create on paper the narrative of what you are like, what your life is like, your relationships, what you do, the impact you have, the lifestyle you have, and the legacy that you are living. Okay, so those are categories, 5 different categories: the heart, mind, body, and soul. What is your passion, your career, your mission? What role does money play in your life? Relationships, and the fun and passionate things like travel, hobbies, learning, that kind of stuff. So write down those 5 areas, and then underneath each one of those 5 areas, write 10 to 20 things, bullet points that you want underneath there. Okay, so you got your 5 categories. Now this is what you're going to do. You're going to put a timer on. When you put a timer on, here's what happens. You go as fast as you can. You write anything you can. You can go back and cross things off afterwards. But if we sit and ruminate, we get stuck in our subconscious, and then we get sabotaged and the ego comes up. But if you have a timer and you're under a time constraint, you're going to go pretty fast, and you're going to be able to circumvent some of the overthinking that happens with the subconscious. Put down the 5 categories, maybe put 6 minutes on the timer, and then go, and then just write. These are just bullet points, remember. And then after you've got that outline, after 30 minutes, you got the skeleton already. Now, this is where the fun part comes. This is where you can expand your script. So for each bullet point that you want to keep, write out a sentence that tells your story. But keep it positive, keep it energetic, full of a lot of enthusiasm. Use descriptions of things you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, the senses. And by the way, if you're not one that loves to write things out, use technology. My favorite thing is to record everything in notes. And it just records it for me, types it out, and then I email it to myself. That to me is the easiest way. It's like having a secretary in a phone, right? So don't make this difficult. Utilize your technology if you want. That step is particularly helpful when you're expanding your bullet points. Just speak from your heart. Get into the feeling of it. Now, this last step is you're going to record the script along with some music that really stirs your soul and awakens your body in a huge way. Remember to allow the emotion of your story to come out in your recording. When you listen to it and maybe even memorize some parts, you're going to want to get in an emotional state that will awaken up the science piece of this whole thing. So then you're going to use it morning and night if possible. And on your phone, you can listen to it on the way to work, in the grocery store, on your headphones, as you lie in bed at night before you go to sleep, or when you first wake up, when your alarm goes off. Let your heart feel the story. Step into it and visualize it in your mind as you hear the words. Okay, here's an example of something you might write. I awaken in the morning very early to do my power hour solitarily. But my amazing spouse, who is lying next to me, arises also to do his power hour before we come together and mutually give gratitude to the universe and compare where our focus is for the day. I feel a peace and a security flowing through me as I feel the oneness and the completion of my union to this beautiful man. Although our day has already been planned the night before so we can have great purpose and clarity for the day, we know and we understand that the orchestrations that we have asked of our angels as we sleep may bring a new priority to the day, which we will respond to. We flow and we grow with ease. I enjoy the process of learning as much as I enjoy applying what I learn. I am able to prioritize and focus on the things that really matter. Our bodies and health propel our purpose, success, and service on this earth. My body is healthy, full of energy, clarity, and keen intuition. During my morning workout, I push myself to find new limits and to reach new levels of strength, balance, and agility. I have the sleekness, muscle tone, and agility like when I was dancing in college. But even more so, I feel like I have command of my body. The feeling of strength in my body carries over to the feeling strong and resilient in my mind. Now, here's the science. It truly is a blueprint for the brain. It's like saying, hey, we're going this way. And the reticular activating system that I speak about a lot is important because when you teach the brain what's important to you, it starts paying attention and it's going to remind you when it sees, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that opportunity. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, remember, you love this kind of stuff. It's going to help you find and direct you. It is almost like a reminder, like, remember that grappling hook that we threw into the future and we pulled it tight? Okay, I'm keeping your hands on that line because I'm trying to pull you into the future and arrive at that vision, at that script that you wrote and you wanted and you desired. Because when you listened to it, you felt it, you stepped into it, and it was you. You could feel it. Now that's the science. That's using your brain to help you. Now, a script is not going to work if you don't listen to it. It's not going to work if you listen to it and just go, oh yeah, Oh, that was nice. You have to step into the feeling of it, the emotion of it. Your heart is a big piece of this. One other piece of advice I wanted to give you is I always end with a huge paragraph about what I'm grateful for. So it's all the different things that I'm grateful for in my life. There's a special key to gratitude. And one of the things it does is it helps us identify all the amazing things that are happening around us. Even though we may have chaos, there can be things that we're grateful for. And we're training the brain to see the positive, the amazing things so that we can handle life, right? But also to keep us in a mental state of clarity and good problem solvers. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just what comes out right now is great. And as other things come in your purview, you have the opportunity to record it again or just add to the end of it. This can be an evolving script as new priorities enter your life. Sending into the stratosphere what your desires are is bringing together all the energies of the thought, the feeling, the action that start walking the line from that grappling hook that you threw out in the future that had all your desires and dreams. And it's serving as a guideline for your life. And it's reminding your brain that what we are, what we're becoming, because you hear it, you feel it, and you see it in your mind's eye every day. That script that you created for your life. So what is your story? What is the screenplay that you will write, direct, star in? And why wouldn't you try this? That's a really good question. We create the life we want to live. And so I hope this gets you so excited you can't wait to get out of bed in the morning just to create your dreams. Write your script, the future you, and let's start living it in now, in the present. Join me next week, guys. Thanks for tapping in. This is a powerful one. Don't ignore it. Tally ho.